Hey, how's it going? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have so many different announcements about the book troop, my book club. I also have some announcements and updates about the Film Queens podcast that I've been hosting with my sister. And in 2026, I'm going to be revamping my Patreon for the first time since I've started it back in 2021. And so in this video, I'm going to be covering a number of different things and talking about a lot of different channel updates that are going to be happening here on YouTube in 2026. So the Book Troop Book Club is a thriller and horror book club that I've been hosting here on YouTube ever since 2021. And over the last 5 years of the book club, we have read 59 books together, and as of the end of December, I will have hosted 59 live shows. And I have decided that for the year of 2026, I'm going to be changing the book troop. And instead of being a monthly book club, we are now going to be a quarterly book club. So basically, instead of having 12 picks every year, we are only going to have 4 picks per year. And the 4 picks are going to be, like seasonal picks. So we'll have a pick for winter, spring, summer, and fall. And the main reason for this is because I am starting to feel a little bit burnt out on the book club, and I'm not feeling as passionate about it as I once did. I think that running a book club like this is so much work, and this is actually a decision that I've been struggling with for like the last 2 years almost now. I was almost actually going to make this decision at the end of last year, but then I just never got the courage to actually make the change and do what was best for me. And so I do feel like for me, this was like a long time coming. I do think that running a book club like this on YouTube is challenging for me because I do feel like there's a lot of pressure going on when it comes to picking books that everybody's gonna enjoy. And because I'm not reading the books first myself, I don't know if these are gonna be books that we'll enjoy or not before going into them. And so it's really hard for me to be able to tell beforehand what's going to make a good book club pick. I mean, I know that I'm always getting requested to have, backlist books be the book troop picks instead of the new releases, but I feel like I've already read so much of the thriller and horror genre, at least with books that I'd be interested in having as book club picks. I feel like there's so little backlist books for me to choose from that I would be really interested in. And then I also think there's the issue of trying to find co-hosts when it's a backlist book, because I do think it is a little bit more challenging to find people who haven't read the books when they're a backlist book compared to new releases. But I mean, it's not just that, it's also that I personally get the most excited about the new release books, and so those are usually the books that I'm wanting to discuss anyway. But then I do feel guilty most of the time when I want to have, the newer release books as book troop picks, because I do realize that it's a lot harder to get your hands on a new release book unless you're, putting out the money to buy it yourself. Because I know that there's a lot of people in the book troop that rely on the library, to get access to these books, and because we're reading the newest releases, I know that it's a little bit more difficult to get your hands on the book, and I am fully aware that books are so expensive, and I feel like books have gotten even more expensive. And so hopefully with only having 4 picks instead of the 12 picks, I'm hoping that that'll feel less of a hassle. I also know too how hard it can be to keep up with book clubs, because I feel like having 12 picks in a year, sometimes it can just feel too much. And I know that I always have people saying oh my god, I'm not going to be able to finish the book in time for the live show, or it's really hard to keep up with it month to month. And so that's another reason it does feel right to kind of scale back the book club. I also think a big part of the reason for this change, at least for me, is the fact that thrillers just have not been as good recently. I feel like we can all agree, if you've been reading thrillers for a long time, I've seen this conversation again and again, how thrillers just are not as interesting as they used to be. And I don't know, it is one of those things where it's well, maybe thrillers are one of those genres where the more that you read, the more that you've seen it all, and then it takes a lot more to surprise you. But I just also think in general, the quality of thrillers has really gone down. And I have noticed for me that some of the most successful book troop picks that I've had in the last few years have actually been the horror books, which is really interesting, because when I first started the book troop back in 2021, I kind of wanted it to be a thriller focused book club, and I didn't even really intend to read a lot of horror for the book troop, but it just kind of started to happen over the years. And so I do think that moving forward with the book club, it would be nice to actually include more horror picks. I mean, I know now I'm only going to have 4 picks, so I'm going to have to be more selective about which books I'm going to be picking for the 4 books. But I do think because it's a tradition for the book troop to read the new Riley Sager every summer, I still do think that I would like that to be a tradition on the book troop, because I do love having those live shows with my mom and my sister, and I know that that's kind of become a tradition for our book club, so I think I still would like to make that happen. So if Riley Sager does have a book coming out in 2026, which I believe he does, I think he just announced that he's having something come out a little bit later in the summer. I think he said it's going to come out in early August, so maybe we can still have that one be a book club pick if you're interested in doing that. The book troop has been such a highlight, on my channel and in my life, and I feel like I've had some of the best memories that I've ever had were because of the book troop book club and these live shows that I've done with some of my friends here on booktube. I mean, I'm so forever grateful to all of my friends and anybody who's ever contributed time to, take time to read the book with me and hang out on the live shows. And to all of you who are joining joining in the book club discussions every single month. Like, I appreciate it so much. And I do feel really terrible for the people that are like so active in the book club, but I also know when it's time for a change, and this just really feels like the right time for a change. I mean, for a while there, I was even considering like canceling the book club entirely, but I was like, I just don't really want to do that. Like, I don't want it to get to that point. And so I feel like 2026 is going to be like a test run for me with like the book club. We're gonna try quarterly in 2026 and see how that feels. And I think by the end of 2026, I'll be able to make a decision of whether we'll move forward with like still having the quarterly picks or whether I'll be bringing the book club to a close altogether. I just want to see how we feel in the year of 2026. I don't want to put any pressure on myself to make any decisions about the future of the book club, but for 2026, we're going to be having 4 live shows. So we are going to be having live shows in the months of February, May, August, and November. And I am excited to announce to you that I have the first 2 picks for next year already picked out. So for our winter book club pick in 2026, we are going to be reading My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. This is a book that's publishing in January, and then the live show is probably going to be happening at the end of February. This is one that I have been incredibly excited to read, and I've actually been hearing from so many of my friends that this is one of Alice Feeney's best books yet. I was a little bit hesitant at first and like not sure if I wanted to pick this one for the book club, but after hearing that, I'm just so excited to read this one. I do think Alice Feeney is like one of my top favorite thriller authors that's publishing books these days, so I am so excited to get into this one. And in this story, we're following this woman named Eden Fox, and it says that she's an artist on the brink of her big break. When she returns to Spyglass, the enchanting old house in Hope Falls that she recently moved into, nothing is as it should be. Her key doesn't fit. A woman eerily similar to her answers the door, and her husband insists that the stranger is his wife. So like, what do you mean? That sounds crazy. I can't wait to read this one. So I hope that you'll be able to join us for a live show for this one in late February. I'll have more details on that coming soon. And then I'm also very excited to announce that our spring pick for the year of 2026 is going to be The Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver. And this is actually from the same author as We Used to Live Here, which was like one of my favorite book troop picks that we ever had. So of course I really wanted to read this next book for the book troop. This one is actually coming out in April next year. It comes out April 21st, and our spring live show is probably going to be happening at the end of May. I've heard that this one actually takes place in the same universe as We Used to Live Here, so I'm really curious to find out like what that means. And the premise for this one says we're following this woman named Macy. It says she can't say why the job posting grabbed her attention, but after an endless string of failed job interviews, she's not exactly in a position to be picky. Besides, it's only 3 days work. It says it takes place on the Oregon coast. What starts as a peculiar side gig soon becomes a waking nightmare. This one has been so vague with like what this book is even about, but I'm so curious. And it looks like this one's gonna have like the same kind of Morse code that the other book had. So I am very excited for these 2 upcoming book troop picks for next year. We have our winter pick and our spring pick. You'll have to let me know if you're gonna plan to read along with these picks next year. I know that I can't wait. These are 2 of some of my most anticipated books of the entire year. And so the next part of this video, I wanted to talk about changes that are going to be happening on my Patreon in 2026. I mean, nothing major is going to be changing on my Patreon, and in fact, the only big change that's really going to be happening is that I'm no longer going to be allowing my Patreon to vote on which books will be our upcoming book troop picks, which is a perk that they had before. But the main reason for that is because now that there's only going to be 4 picks for the entire year, I figured it would just be better for me to like hand select those myself. But because I am taking away one of the perks on Patreon, I thought it would only be right to like add something. So next year I'm going to be adding a bi-weekly newsletter on my Patreon that's going to be called Ghostly Stacks. And it's going to be a newsletter that I'm going to be sharing twice a month. And the newsletter is basically just going to include a few different like life updates and like what music I'm currently listening to, what shows I'm currently watching, like what food I'm really into, what drinks I would recommend, and maybe like seasonal things. I don't know, I figured throughout the year I can try to like figure out what I want this newsletter to be, but I thought this would be like a really fun and like creative thing to add to the Patreon. I'm also excited that I'm going to be revamping my Patreon with this new art that my sister made, and I'm going to be like renaming all of my tiers. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. I actually haven't changed anything on my Patreon since I started it in 2021. But now on Patreon, my lowest tier is going to be this one called Cosmic Daydreamer, and this art is done by my sister. I know, it's gorgeous. It's so stunning. And this is the lowest tier on my Patreon, and nothing's really going to be changing on this tier specifically. But this is a tier that includes a lot because not only do you get early access to almost every single video that I post here on YouTube, but I also do host weekly reading sprints over on this tier. And that's basically just where I do a live stream and we set a timer and we read together in real time. It's definitely one of my favorite aspects of my Patreon, and I really enjoy the community with doing the reading sprints every single week. This tier will also give you access to any Patreon exclusive readathons that I host. including the Screaming Color Readathon that I host 3 times a year. And the Screaming Color Readathons have become one of my favorite things that I do on my Patreon. They always take place on the weekends, and I love hosting trivia in between the reading sprints on the first day of the readathon, and I host 10-hour-long reading sprints. And this tier will also give you access to a Patreon-only Discord chat, and over there we just talk about like lots of different things. It's mostly like fangirling over like TV shows and movies and Taylor Swift. And it will also give you access to a monthly music playlist that I post every single month, where I share like 20 to 30 songs that I'm currently listening to in a Spotify playlist. I love sharing music. It's one of my biggest things. So that is all that my bottom tier includes on Patreon. And then my second tier is this one called Ghostly Stacks. My sister made this art as well, and like I know it's just absolutely stunning, so beautiful. I don't know how she does it. I love the details on this one when it says pumpkin chai lattes all year, like so cute. And so this tier is going to include all the benefits from that first tier, but then you're also going to get access to monthly movie nights that I host every single month. I have so much fun with the movie nights. The movie nights are also a mix of like some movies that I've seen before and then some new release movies that I've never seen before. This tier will also give you access to the Troop Talks that I host with my sister once a month. And the Troop Talks are essentially just like a live show that I do with my sister where we just sit there for like an hour and a half to like 2 hours and we just talk and play games and just hang out. I think they're so much fun, and I love getting the chance to like have my sister more included in something like that. And then the last thing that I added to this tier is going to be the Ghostly Stacks newsletter. And like I said, this is going to be a bi-weekly newsletter that I'm going to be posting twice a month. And then lastly, my highest tier is going to be Eternal Midnights. And this is once again art that my sister has created, and I know it's so beautiful. Oh my god, this one might be my favorite. I love the colors, like the rainbow books on the shelves and then the night sky, the way it looks like the Milky Way galaxies out there. Like I am obsessed with this. And this tier is my highest tier on Patreon, and this tier includes all of the benefits of the previous 2 tiers. And the perks on this tier are going to be my Patreon exclusive videos. So Patreon exclusive videos are something that I post at least once, if not twice per month. It just depends on how busy that month is for me, but most of the time it is going to be 2 videos that I'm posting to Patreon every month. I do like to have a mix on this tier of Patreon of videos that are like book related videos. Like sometimes I'll be doing spoiler filled vlogs for like certain books and things like that, or even like extended reading vlogs, those kinds of videos. But then oftentimes I also do include videos that are not really bookish related at all. I post a lot of my monthly vlogs that are kind of like lifestyle vlogs that include more like personal life moments. I also do videos that are like Taylor Swift album reactions, or like day in the life videos, or like tier ranking videos, or any kind of like silly videos that I make with my family or friends. All of that is going to be available on this tier. And then also, if you do sign up for my Patreon on this tier, you're immediately going to get access to the 70 plus exclusive videos that I've already made on Patreon. I feel like Patreon actually really makes it easy to navigate because they have this tab on my Patreon that says collections. And if you click collections, you'll see a bunch of different collections that I've already made of like all the different content that I'm offering on Patreon that you can easily access. But if you click Patreon exclusive videos, it'll basically show you a playlist of like every single video that I've ever made on Patreon. So I do think if you're wanting to sign up, now would be a really great time because I do have such a huge backlist of videos that you can watch. I also know that some people's concern with Patreon is like they don't want to have to download another app on their phone, which like I totally understand. But I think what's great about Patreon is that I don't even think you necessarily have to have the app on your phone if you don't want to, because when you sign up for my Patreon online, you can sign up to get email notifications so that it will send it to your email. And so like you don't even necessarily need to have the app on your phone if you don't want that extra app. That is all the news about my Patreon update next year. I'm really excited for the new artwork and for the new newsletter that I'm offering. And as always, I appreciate your support so much. Like whether you're able to support on the Patreon or just here on YouTube, I appreciate you so much. And if you've ever even thought about joining my Patreon, like thank you so much. It literally means the world to me, and it's only because of my Patreon community that I'm able to do this full time, so thank you. There's never a single day that I take this for granted, and I just wanted you to know how grateful I am. And then the last update that I have for this video, the last announcement, is that the Film Queens podcast is back. So you might not know this, but me and my sister, we started a podcast back in the year of 2022 called Film Queens. And the podcast is basically about, you know, like movies and TV shows and being able to talk about all of our thoughts. We had the podcast for almost the entire year of 2022, and then we just abandoned it at the end of the year. And I think we stopped doing the podcast for like a number of different reasons, but I think it's because it just got to be a little bit too overwhelming with what we were trying to do at the time. I mean, back when we were doing this podcast, we were posting weekly episodes every single Tuesday, and I feel like trying to do it every single week just got to be a little bit too much for us. So I think this time around we're trying to put a little bit less pressure on ourselves, and we're planning to post on Thursdays, but it's probably going to be like every other Thursday. Like I think we're gonna do like a bi-weekly kind of podcast thing, and we're hoping to post at least 2 times a month. I mean, of course, like if we have more things to talk about and like if we want to make another episode, we will, but I think 2 episodes per month is going to be like our goal for now. And I'm really excited to let you know that our first episode back actually just went up on Thursday, so you can listen to it now, and it should be available on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify or like wherever you listen to your podcasts. I will have the link for the Spotify link to the podcast down below, but we finally posted our first episode back. It's available to listen to now, and in this episode we talk about the movies Wicked and Wicked for Good and kind of talk about our thoughts on them. And like usual, we do start the podcast with like talking about movie news and like things that are currently coming out in the movie world. That's one of my favorite things. Like I love being able to talk about the movie news at the beginning of the podcast. Like that's something I've always really loved doing. And so yeah, I'm really excited to bring this podcast back with my sister. I feel like part of the reason why now feels like a good time for the podcast is also because my sister recently got a new computer. And so now that my sister has a computer, I think it's going to be a lot easier for us to be able to record the podcast episodes on her computer. That was a big part of the reason why we ended up stopping the podcast, was because we were recording them on my old laptop, like my really old laptop, because my new laptop didn't have the right cord for the microphone. I don't know, it was a whole thing. We were having a lot of technical issues, and I think that was also part of the reason why it just became too much to deal with. But now we have all of that figured out, and it feels so good. And so I'm really excited. I feel like 2026 is going to bring a lot of different changes. So I think those are all of the updates that I have for you today. You'll have to let me know if you're planning on participating in the upcoming book troop picks for next year. I also wanted to have a reminder here that I am still going to be having the live show with my sister this month for the book Julie Chan is Dead. That is still our December book troop pick, and it's going to be our last monthly live show for the book troop. And the live show for Julie Chan is Dead should be happening with my sister on Saturday, December 27th. I will have the link available once we get a little bit closer to that date, but the live show is still going to be happening later this month, so I hope that you can join us to read Julie Chan is Dead, because honestly, like that is my favorite thriller that I've read so far this year. So I really hope that you can read along with us this month. Yeah, please do let me know your thoughts on all of the things. I would also love to know if you're planning to listen to the Film Queens podcast. I know I'm really excited to bring it back. And thank you so much for watching in the year of 2025. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see where 2026 takes us. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!